and welcome back to another campaign of Gary Grigsby's War in the East 2. It's been quite a while since I streamed, and it's been a long while since I played this game. I had the intention of making a long series of my first campaign, and I have all the saves on my old PC, but I haven't been able to retrieve them yet, so therefore I decided it was high time to start a new campaign of this excellent war game. And there has been a lot of patch updates, and I haven't really been following along on the Matrix Games forums, what's going on with the game. But as far as I understand, the game has always been in excellent shapes when it comes to bugs, but there's been fixes to some features and balancings, and as far as I understand it, the air system has been overhauled a little bit concerning balance and kill numbers, etc. But I am not the right person to talk about the details of what's actually been going on since the full release of the game. I played quite a bit of War in the East 1, the first version. I played it both single player, and I found the AI to be quite weak, as is to be expected in a game of this scope, or actually any computer war and strategy game. So I also tried playing opposed versus humans, and that was extremely challenging, especially playing as the Russians, because the supply system was a bit more forgiving and easier to exploit, so the German panzers could move incredibly far after a bit of preparation, setup of and dabbling with supply build-ups in a bit of a magic way. So I kind of ran out of patience of playing both versus the AI in the first version and also playing opposed, because it was so incredibly hard not to become encircled in these huge pockets. There was really nothing you could do against it. But I always been more fascinated with the second version. The supply system is more refined, and I'd say I have a kind of a decent grasp of the second version because I played the first version so much. It's similar. What I don't have a lot of control over is the air system. So I think my main goal of this game is basically getting into the finer details of the air system. And obviously catching up on all the patches and everything else. It's a huge game to learn, for everyone's reference. Although I do believe this is probably the best grand strategy game I have ever played, and that says a lot, because I have played a lot of war games and strategy games, both IRL board games and computer war games. So for anyone that hasn't tried this, yes, it's a very high threshold to get into the game, but it's worth it once you get there, because it has something for everyone. You can play it on every level. I'm not sure how long this series is going to go on. Every streamer and gamer's intention of starting a campaign of this magnitude and scope is, of course, to play to the completion. You never know about that, but what I do know is I'm gonna take my time. There's not gonna be regular updates like every week or twice every week. So if you're following this series, you will have to wait sometimes for an update for a long while. I'm not gonna have any pressure. I'm just gonna keep it going at my own slow pace. There will also not be a lot of actual gameplay being portrayed in my streams. I will show the situation after the AI, the German move maybe, and then after that I'll explain what I did during my turn, and I'll show the end turn result of my movements and have more overview. So my streams won't go on for an hour, 2 hours, because this game has a huge time sink investment. If you play, a turn can take anything from an hour and upwards to many hours, and I don't want to feel stressed out and talking in English, which is not my native language, and playing at the same time. So I'll take my time, play the game, and then I'll show you the result. Maybe I'll pick up a save and show an interesting situation or combat, but this will be more of a series of like an AAR, after action report, really, than actual streaming of the ongoing campaign. My goal for War in the East 2 is to play opposed human versus one of the let's say more famous streamers, because I think it would be interesting for a larger audience. It's very much a niche audience, but there still is one out there. And if they were able to see both sides of an opposed game and not only one side, I think that would be very interesting. So once I completed this, I'm hoping to go on and ask one of the 2-3 streamers that I know of that actually regularly stream this very complicated game, and ask them to play a kind of a role-playing. I mean, we would try to make it a World War II simulation, honorable game, and have a good campaign and make it balanced, and not try any crazy tactics or strategies that might make the campaign end early, but actually try to simulate World War II. I really don't have any special plans playing as the USSR versus the German AI. What I can say is that the AI is fairly good in this game, but it's always a disadvantage for the AI. I mean, you can't really expect the AI to play as good as a human player. So therefore I have increased the difficulty quite high. I put the human, my own USSR side, at 100, and I haven't lowered it. That's because I want to learn how to play as you would an opposed game versus a human player. So like everything going on the human side, my side, is normal, whereas the AI has a lot of different advantages, being at the difficulty 125. Of course, 100 being the normal for anyone not aware of that. And there is a major advantage for the AI from 120 and upwards. It has to do, I couldn't explain it exactly, but it has to do with reduced cost of moving from zone of control, enemy zone of control, to another zone of control. So that means the AI can escape and infiltrate in combat a lot easier. But of course, every combat's going to be modified at least 25% upwards in strength for the AI. I think it might be even more, because there's an aggregated effect, like 25% of artillery plus 25% of infantry strength and morale and yada yada. The AI has extremely strong combat capabilities at this time, which means the AI does not excel at doing tactical and strategic maneuvers like the Germans did historically, and the human players surely would try to do, or actually do. So they will more or less just be able to push their way towards their objectives. So the question is, am I going to be able to stop them, short of, I suppose, Leningrad, Moscow, and Rostov, something like that? The historical 1941 winter line. Am I going to be able to stop them earlier or later, or at all? I think I went with the sudden death victory conditions on this grand campaign, so that I cannot withdraw forever and then just come back in 42, 43 and push the Germans back. But I actually have to fight for certain victory locations if I don't want the German AI to overwhelm me. And with that, we're up to 10 minutes of introduction. I'm hoping to get a few viewers to follow me, and I would be happy to answer any of your comments. Thank you very much, and I will see you on turn 1 when the game actually starts.